Welcome to my messy studio, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm an artist and an art professor. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about an obscure but highly effective way of drawing with a pencil called the Chisel-point. I'll show you what it is, explain why you should be using it, and then do a real-time landscape drawing using this technique. Let's get started. But first, give me a second to tell you about my YouTube membership program. The lesson you're about to see is an abridged version of a full-length lesson available to channel members, who, for a small monthly fee, get access to a library of full-length classes and 2 new classes every single month. Members also get priority in having their art-related questions answered, something that will likely become more valuable as the channel grows and I'm unable to reply to everyone. Before we talk about the chisel point, let's go over how to sharpen your pencil, because if you're still sharpening your pencil like this with one of these little twisty pencil sharpeners, you're severely limiting the versatility of your drawing tool. Instead, here is what I recommend. You're going to use either an X-Acto knife or a sharp utility knife to make your pencil look like this, long and with a gentle taper. Here's how this process works. You're going to start sharpening an inch from the tip of the pencil. So here's the tip all the way down here, and use a very flat angle, about 10 degrees. Cut, rotate, cut, rotate, cut, rotate. Keep going all the way around until you're going to start to see the wood fall away from the drawing material. And you're going to keep going until you've exposed about ½ an inch of lead. So keep going all the way around, be patient. Some pencils have glue on the inside, which you're going to have to scrape away. It's not every brand, but occasionally you'll see a little bit of glue on the inside of the pencil. Make sure you cleared it. And the most important thing here is not the length of the drawing material, it's actually this, the flatness of the wood here. So you want a very long, tapered angle, because if it's too steep, this little bump is going to get in the way of you drawing with the pencil. So you want to make sure that the angle here is approximately 10 degrees. And then the next step is just to taper the edge of the drawing material so that it's perfectly flat. So the way I do that is by turning my blade about 45 degrees, resting the drawing material on top of the tip of my finger, and very gently scraping the side of the pencil down like this. So scrape and slowly rotate. Try not to put any pressure here at all, because on the softer drawing materials, it's going to create all kinds of grooves and irregular bumps. Keep scraping, go around a few times until you have a gentle taper. If you're having difficulty with this, I recommend getting one of these metal files from a hardware store. Don't use a wood file, it's going to be too coarse. And then you can run the side of your pencil against the file a few times and get that taper. Just another way of doing it. Alright, now that our pencils are all sharpened, so here I have a 2B, I have a 4B, I have a 6B. Now we can talk about the chisel point. Those of you with a bit of drawing experience know that there are essentially 2 ways of holding the pencil. Using the writer's grip, where you draw with the point of the pencil, like this. And this way of working is usually reserved for line work. For cross-hatching, obviously, but any kind of sharp, detailed line. The second way is to use what's called the thumb and forefinger grip. That's when you hold your pencil like this. You're going to pinch it between the thumb and your forefinger, and if the pencil is long enough, rest it on the back of your hand like this. This is going to allow you to hold your pencil on its side and put down flat value. This is really where sharpening your pencil correctly is so crucial. Because, again, if there is a steep bump here, instead of making contact with the side of the lead, you're going to make contact with this bump, and you're not going to be able to draw. The thumb and forefinger grip is usually reserved for flat value, but many artists also use it for putting down lines. So if I tip the angle of the pencil slightly more vertical, I'm able to put down sharp lines as sharp as I would with the writer's grip. And the advantage of this grip is that it allows me to very quickly transition from putting down line to working with value. Line, value. Now, what is the chisel point? Well, the chisel point is actually a hybrid between the point and the side of the pencil, and looks like this. I'm going to use the writer's grip and polish down the tip of my pencil. So you can use a piece of paper like this. Keep polishing until, instead of a line, you get a soft stroke that somewhat resembles this. And up close, the tip of your pencil is no longer pointy. It has a taper like this, which resembles a chisel. And the advantage of the chisel point is that I can use it with the flat part down on the paper, which again creates a soft, fuzzy stroke with the correct angle, of course. So I can use it to shade. But if I turn my pencil upside down, it goes back to putting down very sharp lines. So this is a very fast way of transitioning from sharpness to softness. Without having to change the angle of the pencil or switch grips. Now, when I'm drawing, I usually use all three. So for my initial sketch, probably because my pencil hasn't created a chisel point yet, I'll start off with using the point. I can block in my values using the side of the pencil, and then use the side of the pencil sporadically to put down big values. But for detail work, for texture, I also incorporate the chisel point because it's incredibly useful for creating all kinds of textures. Leaves, rocks, wood, all kinds of stuff. So let me do a demonstration of a drawing where I use all three of these drawing methods. The chisel point has a number of advantages beyond just being able to very quickly transition from soft shading to sharp line. It's also very good for creating all different kinds of strokes, different kinds of textures. So for example, if I'm doing any kind of leaf texture, I can start off with the flat of the pencil to create soft strokes that are relatively wide, like this. And then let's say I want to draw a little bit of the trunk of the tree, which has a bunch of sharp textures to it. I can rotate my pencil and put down a sharp line, or any kind of sharp texture. Sharp branches. And very quickly go back to putting down soft leaves. If I'm doing some kind of rock, I can sketch in the rock using the flat of the pencil, like this. Block in the general value of the rock using the flat of the pencil. And then rotate the pencil slightly and put in a bunch of sharp details and textures, cracks. Then rotate the pencil again and put in some soft indications of grass. Turn the pencil again, put in a few sharp details. And best of all, the chisel point doesn't require as much sharpening because as you use the pencil flat, you resharpen the edge of the point. So if it starts getting rounded, all I have to do is shade somewhere else using the flat of the pencil. And as a process of working with the flat of the pencil, I get my chisel point back to its initial sharpness. So this is a fantastic way of drawing when you don't have a pencil sharpener with you, which can be the case. Now let me demonstrate how the chisel point works in practice in combination with the other ways of drawing. So I'm going to do a landscape where I'm going to incorporate drawing with a point, drawing with the side of the pencil, and the chisel point, all in a single drawing. For this drawing, I'm going to be using Wolf's carbon pencils. They're 2B, they're 4B, and they're 6B. I'm also going to be using a blending stump and a small eraser holder. This one's made by Tombow, they're Mono 0. Let's start the drawing. I'm going to start my sketch with their 2B pencil and use the side, which is going to allow me to put down long lines that are really light. They don't eat into the paper and are going to be easily erasable or smearable later in the drawing. Now I'm going to start using the chisel point to shade and to put in some details. So my pencil is still fairly pointy. I'm going to switch probably either to continue working with the 2B, but I think maybe the 4B is going to be more appropriate here. So let's polish my pencil down to a chisel point. And put in the detail. I'm going to put down a piece of paper so that I don't smear my drawing with the palm of my hand. And you can see that with chisel point, you can very quickly transition from putting down a soft value. So we can, for example, shade this door a little more using the chisel point, using the flat part of the chisel point, and then switch over and get some very sharp looking strokes to represent the cracks in the wood.